Good evening, everyone. Curry College 2 for the forecast. Joe Shaka taking a look at the summer. Finally, summertime has arrived once again. And let me tell you, this forecast for the summer is not as clear-cut as last summer, and I'll explain that here for obvious reasons. So, here is the CFS temperature forecast for the month of June. We can see here that there's a lot of warm, potentially, here in the northern and eastern part of the country, as you can see here, and some cool spots around the country in other locations. But what really, I think is going to drive this entire thing, we're going to be revisiting this numerous times, really. I mean, the main key, I think, for the summer is local drivers. What things could inhibit heat or promote heat in the lower 48? So, here's the forecast temperature anomalies for the month of June of the CFS. Now, where it rains a lot, and I'll show you the precipitation forecast in just a couple minutes. Where it rains a lot, it is going to be cooler than normal. Where it is dry, I think it's going to likely be warmer than normal. So that is my theory on the summer, and my whole thing with this El Nino that's coming on, we'll take a look at that as well, is that it's not going to be a super Nino. Right now, we're in kind of a neutral stage. We're not in either El Nino or La Nina. So there really are a lot of vulnerability factors that really can play into how the summer forecast works. So again, it's not that clear cut on how this is going to work. Anyway, here's the precipitation forecast off the CFS. You can see the dryness in through here. A lot of the country is dry, but seeing some of the other guidance, I do not really favor the CFS that much for the precipitation. I think we're going to see a lot of water here in the central part of the United States, into the Ohio Valley, and probably some drier times here along the eastern coast, you know, with the whole overall upper level pattern that I think is going to be going on with this El Nino that's going to try to come on, albeit should be a weak El Nino, but there will be some El Nino influence into this entire pattern, I think, over the summer months. But again, where it does remain dry, it is likely to remain warmer than normal. Here we are for the June height field. Again, you can see this ridge, trough, ridge. Could even be some early tropical mischief along with this as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in another video that I'll be doing. But overall, you can see all these heights that are way above normal into here, so interesting stuff to say the least for the month of June. We'll be taking a look here also at the Canadian SIPS, which I favor the Canadian SIPS model, a much more accurate, if you will, climate model, given how the experiences that I've had with that particular forecast model. Anyway, here's the month of July. Again, more in line what I think is going to happen. Again, you can see loading up here on the coolness in the center of the country, cool in the southeast, warm in the northeast, and maybe some warm weather on the west coast. Precipitation looks like this. Again, where you load up with water, just like this, when you start loading it up, the ground will not get, and the air will not get as hot as could if it was ground. Why is that? Because when there's a lot of water sitting in the ground, look at some of these anomalies for the month of July. Take, for instance, if obviously like this does, you know, come true, you're talking temperatures here will not get as warm, because look at this. I mean, these anomalies are 5 to 8 inches above normal for the total precipitation in the month of July, if this exact situation obviously does happen. And why can a lot of water like this keep air temperatures down? Well, if you think about it, water takes a longer time to heat than air. So the more water there is in the ground, the longer it takes for the air around it, obviously where we live, to heat up. But where there's less water sitting in the ground, the air can heat much quicker, as there's much less energy from the sun going into the ground and more energy from the sun going into the air to heat the air. And there is a formula of calculation that we won't go into do that for today, but there's a formula that comes out with various equations for various inputs of the formula. But again, where it is wet like this, it will likely be cool, and heat will not be a big story in those regions. Here we are for the height field in July. Again, you can see that large-scale trough potentially in the south here, in the Midwest, where that rain will be most likely felt according to this particular model situation. And here we are in the month of August. Again, some cool here staying in the Midwest. Again, all that water through here, and then warmer you could see West Coast and East Coast as well. So maybe another warm summer here in the Northeast. And my official forecast for the summer here in the Northeast is essentially normal. I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's going to be warm. I don't know if it's going to be cool. But for right now, I'm leaving it equal chances of either one of those events occurring. So we'll have to see what actually does happen as we get, a little bit closer in time. And really, I think over the next 4 to 5 weeks or so, what will be the main thing again is, can we rain a lot here in the Northeast, particularly? If there's a lot of rain early, that may cut down on some of this heat. And again, the El Nino, how quickly does that come on? Does the El Nino come on earlier, or does it come on later? And how does that impact what's going to be going on across the Northern Hemisphere, and really globally, for that matter of fact, over the months of June, July, and August. So again, a lot of skepticism here in this summer forecast. Here we are with the height field for the month of August. Again, you can see here these positives, some trough, and really, I mean, this is flip-flopping around, so it's just a, if you will, trying to find the right word, just a snapshot and a whole bunch of possible model solutions. This is like just a mini snapshot of this particular forecast run, so there was plenty of time for change. And then here again with the precipitation, you can see with this precipitation it's above normal, cool risk, and then where it is dry, it will be warm. Where it is dry, you will fry. Okay, so glad I got that out of the way. Now here's the Canadian, the CFS, and then we look at the Canadian SIPs. Here's the average for the 3-month period. You can see here in the middle of the country, South Texas, where it's rained, cool, and then warm here everywhere else, according again to this snapshot in time of the CFS model. Precipitation average over the 3-month period, you can see warm and dry, cool and wet. So that is again another great snapshot of potentially what the summer is going to look like in around the lower 48. Here we are with the CFS, not the CFS, the Canadian SIPs. Finally, again, a model that I favor much more and has a much more reliable accuracy than the U.S. generated forecast models. Let me try to get a different color up here this time. I don't like the way the white came out. Let's try the red. I think this will work out. But anyway, here's the month of June. Red's my favorite color, so I'm going to use red on my favorite forecast model, the Canadian SIP. So here's the month of June. Here's what it has for the temperatures. You can see here how it has, a large scale warmth pattern, which I'm skeptical of. Again, we'll get another run of this on May 1st, but not as warm in the Northeast, so that's interesting, to say the least. Not completely with my ideas, but there's some overlaps. Here we are with the height field, and another one of the other things I've been looking at here is 09, like some of these analogs. We've got this cool water here off of Alaska, down south of Alaska, and that can cut down on ridging and promote troughs because the wavelengths are shortened. You could stick a trough right in the Northeast, and obviously that would cut down on how hot it can get. And also, again, provide a lot of rain, which will obviously cut down heat, so that could be an occurrence. Here's the month of July. I like this idea a little bit better, a little bit warmer here in the east. Still, I think maybe too warm down here. That looks okay to me. But overall, I think, again, there is going to be some vulnerability even with this kind of a forecast. Again, all this stuff going on with this El Nino is going to really be the dominant player of how quickly or so this actually comes on, and if it comes on at all, some may say. Here we are with the height field. Again, you can see the trough here. If there were to be one, a sympathetic trough focused in the plains where it potentially could rain a lot, and then ridge here, trough, and then ridging across here. So again, that would promote some warmer weather in the Northeast. So that looks pretty good, huh? I like that. I like that a lot. Here we are with the height field. No, this is not the height field. I was just looking at the height field. My God, so many images. I'm doing all these multiple videos, and I have 85 images I'm going through. So there are tons and tons of images, and after a while, the images all look the same. But anyway, here's the month of August temperature-wise. You can see here some areas of cool. Again, I think too warm maybe in the center of the plains, and maybe not warm enough here in the Northeast. Again, very wary of this pattern. Again, another snapshot, but again, shows you the ideas. Just showing you there could be a lot of warmth. Even if this does verify, maybe there won't be as much cool as there could be, but I think cool is to rule, and that is my rule of thumb at this particular time. And again, there's that sympathetic trough here over the Great Lakes and maybe into the Northeast for the month of August. Also, we're going to be looking at the hurricane forecast, and let's just say this happens. You know what? Sometimes you could bring storms up the coast, in that kind of a pattern. So that's pretty interesting as well. Ridge, 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 trough. Storm comes up, it comes in. All right, so that's just a little bit of a sidetrack there on how you can get storms into the Northeast in the heart of the hurricane season. And here are the SSTs, the current SSTs, and you can see what they are looking like globally. A lot of warmth, and here's the El Nino that's trying to come on. Warm along the East Coast, cool in the MDR. That's it for now, and thank you for watching.